Hello and welcome. In front of me today is a Shimano Deore LX shifter. This one specifically is an SLR Plus. So model version is the M564. So today I'm going to show you how to undo the shifter and rebuild everything. So let's get started. Underneath we're going to use a 4mm hex key or Allen key wrench to undo this bolt. It's usually quite tight. Got it. Okay, so I've taken that off. These are always really difficult to remove. Let's remove that screw. Now we can remove the cover. So I'm going to go clockwise to remove the nut. I think here we can just more or less remove the whole body. So take off that plate that holds the spring. Take underneath here, you'll see there's a bushing. We have now the lever with a nylon bushing at the back and so right here we're going to take off that circlip that's holding down this metal plate. You can use a very small thin flat-headed screwdriver to do so, or a knife. Okay, that's popped off. Lift up this plate. Underneath there's a spring. Oh, there you go. You can remove this spring by just moving this arm, and it's going to release the tension on it. We're going to now take off this arm. There's a pull. We're going to lift that up. So I'm going to lift that up. We can now take off the second pull on the right. Now we have the cam and the sprocket that we're going to lift off. And underneath that there is the cam return spring. On the cam itself you'll see that there's a very thin washer. So underneath there's a spring and we can remove that. Here you can also remove these parts from the cam itself. So now we've taken that off. So the number 5 was here, and this part wasn't seen on the top of it. If you want to work on this part here, you can. You need to remove the clip. Right, so I've now removed all the parts and I've put them in order. I suggest you do the same to help you remember where everything is. Wipe down if you need to clean any of your parts. And now we can move on to the rebuild of this shifter. Okay, so to put this back together again, we're going to take the first part, the cam and the sprocket, and we're going to fit that part back on the top. On top of that there was this bushing. There's a slot right here, and that's for this part of the spring here. So we're going to put that in, and then you need the other tip of the spring to be sticking out, and that's going to be latching onto the bottom plate of the mech. Now this is important because this is going to impact how you're going to put the last plate when you come to the completion of this. You'll see here on this pivot bolt that there's a flat part that's on the side here, and you want to put that on the right side of the square when you're putting it back on, so essentially on this side. Right, so now we're going to put this cam and sprocket back on. You'll see on the top left here that there's a hole, and that's the tip. That's going to be for the tip of the spring. So you're going to put this down without moving that bolt out of position, and you're going to sit it into the hole, and you can just leave that now like this for the moment. Okay, so now holding everything down, we're going to put that very thin washer on the top here. Next is the pull that sits on the right side of on that right pivot. I'm going to push that down. On the left you put the other pull, Then we put the spring with the long tip going downwards or facing downwards. We have the lever arm, and that's going to go on the top here, like so, and you want that kind of part there to go in between the two pivots. Now on top of that arm there's a that spring, and that's going to latch on the left, so the other end of the spring is going to latch on towards the that part there. For this I put the bolt underneath to try and hold this a little bit better. Got it. So this washer bushing is sitting here. Now we can put the this plate back on, and we're now going to put that clip here to hold everything down. So use a plier. Now we need to bring that tip of that spring there. We need to bring it towards this little part right here. Flat-headed screwdriver. Be careful of your fingers when you're doing this. And you're going to need to just push really hard to try and latch it over that part. It looks like I've done that. So for the next part, I would suggest that you put this into the, put it onto the first tooth on the sprocket. Put this back onto the body for now. Now you're going to see here the pull here. You're going to want to tension that a bit, and you want that to go in front of that number 5. So I'm going to fit that into here, turn, and now that's in place. Once you've fitted that in, you want to put this last bushing that was a bit longer than the other one, and you want to push that through the lever. Now we're going to put this spring back. So you'll see on the exterior there's that tip, and that's going to be latching onto this part here eventually, but for now we're going to put it just here roughly, and this plate is actually going to sit here, and you want the other end of that spring to go latching onto the that hole. So put that in like that. Okay, so now we've got that on. We're now going to put the nut down, and that's going to stop the spring from overlapping when we're going to tension it back up and latching it over that part. So we're going to go over it with the this flat-headed screwdriver. I'm going to reach over to the other end. Okay, that should be on the top, yeah. So we'll tuck that behind there. Now we're going to tighten that up anti-clockwise. Be careful not to tighten that too much, as you can break the top of that bolt. And I'm just checking if the indicator's been put in correctly, and it does look like it is. So I'm holding this down now. If you have any issues trying to get the mech to line up with the that plastic part that moves the indicator along, then you're going to need to unscrew the parts on the top and remove the window, and then proceed from there. Cover back on. You can now put the bolt in place, and now we're going to put that screw down here. Right, so let's just check that that's good. Okay, it looks like it's working. So thank you for listening. I hope this helped you repair your Shimano Deore LX shifter. Until next time, and hopefully I will do a part 2 of the 8 or 7 speed side of this type of model shifter. Thank you for listening.